EP64th episode of the Meeple Society, a podcast about board games hosted by two longtime role players turned avid board gamers. My name is Katie.
I'm Greg.
On this episode, we talk some 24-hour live gaming. We also talk about conventions, past, scheduled, and hopeful. We continue the recaps of our collection videos with episodes 31 and 32, discussing the ins, the outs, and the biggest surprises of each episode. And finally, we wrap it up with a rundown of everything we played on our recent vacation. But first, some 24-hour live gaming.
So, the Extra Life Marathon.
Yes.
It is still the 7th and 8th, starting at 8 p.m.
Up.
Yes, it is coming
like,
up.
What, 5 weeks away?
Yep, we are in May now.
Yeah.
We are both another year older.
Yeah.
It sounds so thrilled about that.
Yeah.
But we have it coming up. We are running down a list now of games that we are planning to play.
So if you think of anything you want to see played during this very long 24 hours, by all means, leave it in the comments. Whether you can email us. Greg will tell you all about where to reach us later on.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if you're watching on YouTube, you can listen there. Yes, please listen there. But you can put it down in the comments there and I will see it.
Yep.
But tell us what you want to see.
Mark your calendars for June 7th and 8th, starting at 8 p.m. and ending at 8 p.m. on the 8th. We just got back from one vacation and we're heading out again.
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yes, we are heading out to Geekway to the west in 2 weeks out in St. Louis, or actually St. Charles, just north side. Yeah, it's like northwest of St. Louis. But we are heading out to Geekway to the west. We have never been to this particular convention. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it has for us, how different it is. We've only ever been to 2 conventions if you don't count the retreat, and I don't really count the retreat as a convention.
We've been to 3.
Is a retreat. Well,
4.
That's true. We did Origins, and Origins, though, we were there for literally a matter of 4 or 5 hours, and that was it. So we didn't do anything other than the dealer hall. Obviously, we've done Gen Con a lot.
Yep. We've done Hoosier Con once.
Oh, I forgot about Hoosier Con. Okay, we did do Hoosier Con. That was very, very small.
Yep.
And then we've done
Dice
Tower West. So I'm imagining that Geekway to the West is very similar in size to Dice Tower West.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out. And we will talk about it. It won't be on the next episode because we'll be recording the next episode before we leave. But 2 episodes from now, we'll talk about it.
Speaking of cons, it is con season. Although I was looking through a list of the gaming cons, and it's pretty much year round now. It doesn't have a season anymore.
Yeah,
but
we're
about that time where usually all the cons usually start ramping up. So I got on a map and started looking around to the areas around us for the different cons. And as you can see, the first one on there is River City Con. And I thought, well, that looks kind of cool. This year it was January 12th through the 14th, so it won't be one we get to do. This is down in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, that's not far.
Mm-hmm. And it's at the Holiday Inn in Louisville, at the Louisville East in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So I've seen some pictures. There are some pictures on here. It doesn't look like a small convention, so you can stay right there in the hotel if you wish. I thought I'd seen some other pictures of it, but
badge prices are reasonable too. $45 for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Not too bad.
And I thought I seen the fee. Hotel rooms are $119 a night.
That's not horrible.
No, that ain't horrible at all, considering some of the ones we went to.
Yes.
That's pre-registration badges that are $45. The weekend badges at the door are $55.
Right.
Kids,
but it's already happened this year, so maybe
kids
next year.
6 to 12 or $15.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's one to definitely put on the calendar, maybe possibly look at. Just driving in our area in January could be the trick.
Yeah, that's risky. It's almost worth the extra $10 not to pre-register, and if the weather's bad, we can bail, type of thing. But I don't know. We will cross that bridge next January if we decide to go.
This next one, which already has happened, this was in February of 24. This is PoppyCon. This is actually in South Bend, Indiana, so it's just north of us. It's at the Century Center, which I guess is their small convention center. Yes, it's South Bend's largest convention center. We'll have 25,000 plus square feet of gaming exhibitions and event space.
Interesting.
So they do board games, tabletop gaming, or tabletop role-playing gaming, strategy games, miniatures, cards, dice games, and more.
Parking's only $5. Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that's another one by me. So there is one more on here. Well, other than Origins, a lot of people know what Origins is. Click on that last one and see where it's at there.
Platypus Games?
Mm-hmm. Right under where it says, get ready for the 10th annual Platypus Con.
January in Juneau. Wow.
Yeah, so in Alaska,
they have
a gaming convention in January.
Okay. So if you're not familiar with the landscape around the capital of our 49th state, let me educate you for just a second. I lived in Juneau for 2 years. Now, mind you, I was a toddler at the time, so I don't physically remember any of this. However, I've heard stories and I've read stuff. Juneau is, let me think about this for a second. You can't get there by car. You fly in or you boat in. That's it. Obviously, Alaska, anywhere in Alaska, you're susceptible to the winter weather. January?
Mm-hmm.
That just blows my mind, especially since there is no way to drive into this.
Yeah, I seen it was in Juneau, Alaska. I was like, oh, well, you might be interested in this one.
Yes,
and then I seen
be.
the time. I'm like,
January 24th through 26th. Wow. I would be lying if I was not intrigued. If I said I was not intrigued, because I am intrigued.
Weekend badges are only $35, but it'll cost you $3,500 just for airfare to go
it will not cost that much. Wow.
Well, I guess if you go by dog sled, it'll be cheaper.
Y'all can't see the look I'm giving him. Trust me, it's a good one. Anyway, I would be lying if I did not say I was intrigued. So we'll put that one in a back pocket somewhere.
Right. So I looked around and everything. I mean, there are a lot of them out there. I found a lot of miniature ones. They're just for miniature gaming and war gaming. Some role-playing ones, some board games ones, a lot of pop cons.
Yeah, we have a pop con here. We've never been to the pop con here. But obviously, Gen Con is in literally our back pocket, or our backyard, as they say. So it makes sense that we go to that one every year. But again, I would be lying if I didn't say that this year I actually debated, because the cost is so high. And it's literally 4 weeks before we go to the retreat. So, I mean, we are going still. It would be, as avid gamers, it would be silly not to. But at the same time, I did think twice about it. But someday I want to get back to Origins. And someday I would like to get down to BGG Con. And someday I would like to get out to BGG Unplugged. What's the one out in Pennsylvania? PAX Unplugged. That's the one.
Philly?
In Philly, I think it is, yeah. So there's a lot of the mid-sized ones I would love to get to someday. Problem is, I can't afford to do all of them.
No, we'd have to do one or two.
So, yeah. So anyway, if you've got a favorite in your area, by all means, let us know. If it's within driving distance for us for a weekend trip, that earns a bonus. Someday.
Yeah, because Geekway was a viewer on the YouTube channel that asked us if we were going. I was like, wait, what?
We looked it up and found out it was only in about a month. At that point in time, it was a month away. It's now 2 weeks away. But, so yeah, I got on and ordered tickets, booked a hotel, and we're going.
So if you're going to Geekway West, we'll be there.
Yeah, look us up.
So we decided to reformat our Playing Through Our Collection videos.
We did. Well, and the main reason was because I felt like they just kept getting longer and longer, and it was getting harder and harder to get 20 games played, or 15 to 20 games played, and remember anything about them that made sense to talk about. So we're breaking it down a little bit, and we're going to try to get this out on a weekly basis now. So the goal is whatever we can get played in a week, but I mean, anywhere from 5 to 7 games, hopefully. So we'll see how that goes. Typically, we'll take the letter and divide it up into a nice even chunk of game. Divide it up into a nice even chunk number. Like, for instance, the ends, we had, I think, 33 ends. So we just divided them up into 7 or 8 per episode, and did it that way. But we'll see how it works. So if you watch that series, by all means, let us know if you like the changes. If you don't, well, then shame on you. Go check it out. I'm just saying.
With our discussion of formatting, why don't we jump right into the ins and outs of our board game collection?
Why don't we?
So we are going to cover episodes 31 and 32. This is the end of the G's.
Yes.
And into the H's.
Yeah, this is the end of the G's, into the H's.
So what we do is we go through, we talk about games that stayed in our collection, games that left our collection, the surprise of that video, and if there was any disappointments. Well, we have it all on this one.
We do have a big mixture on this one. All right, so the games we played on episode 31. This was wrapping up the G's. We played Granny Apples. This is just a weird little kids game where you're rolling apples slices. Anyway. Graveyards, Ghosts, and Haunted Houses, The Great American Mail Race, The Great Bug Hunt, Great Plains, Great Western Trail, Greedy Gator, Greedy Goblins, Grim Forest, Grim Masquerade, Guardians, Masters of the Electro World, Gubs, Guess Where, Guess Who Extra, Guess Who Mix and Match, Guess Who Star Wars Edition, Gugong, and Guillotine. I would have never guessed there were so many variations of Guess Who. I should have known there were. I mean, it's a kids game that's been around forever.
Yeah.
But when I started finding these in Goodwill, I'm like, really?
Yeah. Well,
it's
a mass market game, and they will paste on a IP.
Well,
or
the
a theme
IPs, yes,
everywhere.
I get the Star Wars or whatever. I'm talking about like the mix and mash, where it's kind of almost a deduction game.
I must have blocked that one out.
You have blocked that one out. Or Extra, where you've got the fold back boards, where you have the stand up boards.
Oh, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, I think that's the one we ended up keeping. So anyway, the ins and outs now. All right, so the game that stuck around in our collection, and now mind you, again, as I always say, a lot of the games stuck around. However, this is the one that even going into it, we knew we enjoyed it and we were going to hold on to it. There's actually been a whole series come out based on this game. We've held on to our original. Despite the box art, I still like the original game. But this is Great Western Trail. The box art never bothered me on this one until somebody started pointing out how crazy-eyed some of the guys are. I'm like, okay, yeah, I have to agree there. They are a little creepy looking. But the game itself is fine. This one it's kind of a deck builder.
Kind of, yeah. It's got a little bit of deck building.
It's got a little bit of deck building. It's got a little bit of route building, really, because you're building out your route up to sell your cattle. So the idea is you're starting down in one location and you are working your way through the plains up to Kansas City, where you sell whatever cattle you have in your hand. Problem is you can only sell one of each type of cattle, one of each breed. So if you have multiples in your hand of a specific breed, they're not going to do you any good. So you're trying to sell those on your route up to be able to pull more cards or to get some extra cash in hand so you can build out your route. Throughout the game, you're building out your route with specific buildings that if you land on them, they do something. Well, they do something for other people that land on them too, but if other people land on them, they might just have to actually stop there. They can't progress any further until their next turn. Lots of different variations on this one. We actually have the expansion, and I think that's what solidified this game for us.
Yes.
And that is Railways to the North. This is one of those quintessential, I won't play the game without it type of expansions. And this is actually, I think, the first expansion we ever owned that was this type for us.
That
we'll never play without it.
Yep.
So yeah, that is a Great Western Trail. There are 3 other variations out now. The base game was just simply reprinted. I don't know if they made any updates to it. I'm sure they did.
They have the expansion for the newer version of it.
Yes.
Second edition.
I believe so, in the second edition.
No, they did.
They did, okay.
Yep.
And then there's also Argentina and
New Zealand.
We've not played any of them. I've been told I don't remember
I heard
which
New
is
Zealand's
which.
Supposed to be a little bit different. Well, you're dealing with sheep in that one.
Yeah.
And not cattle.
I'm not sure what Argentina's all about.
I think I heard Argentina is almost pretty much like Great Western Trail, the original, with a little bit of tweaks here and there, but it's pretty much the same game.
Okay. I would be curious to play the others to see what the hype is, but I like my original game. All right. The game that left our collection, and we actually had a lot of people when we first put this up. And we ended up selling this to a friend of ours for his kids. But this is Grim Forest. Very interesting game based on the Three Little Pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout the game, you are trying to get resources to build out your cabins, I guess, your three little houses. And you have the options of building them out of, I mean, you probably guessed this, straw, sticks, or bricks. And each of the resources come in different quantities. They're each different. You have to go. All right, so there's a worker placement aspect to this where you have to put your worker in one specific location, or you have to declare where you're going. And then after everybody has decided where they're going, everybody flips over their cards showing which market they're going to. If 2 or more people are going to the same market, you have to divide what's there. If you're the only person going there, then great. You get everything that's in that market. But if multiple people wanted those bricks, because the brick houses are valuable, then you're splitting what's there. There are extra power cards involved. You get different character cards. I don't remember offhand what they call them, but you get different character cards that give you special one-time abilities that could say you get to take half of what's there before everything else is split, or a number of different abilities. We liked the game. It did have a lot of take that. Those cards added a lot of take that to it. But I also felt like it was geared toward a younger audience at the same time.
Yeah, just with the whole Three Little Pigs.
Yeah, the Three Little Pigs thing is beautifully produced. Wow, very, very nicely produced. The pigs were gorgeous.
Yeah, the components are just absolutely awesome in this game.
The components are beautiful. The game trays, the whole works. However, we'd played it a few times. We decided we really weren't interested in playing it again. And to be honest, I was afraid pieces would disappear if I put them in the other collection. So, and we had a friend of ours who was very interested in it. So we ended up giving it to him for his kids. His kids were, in the late adolescent stages, and it was the perfect fit for them. And he did say they are very much enjoying it. So we made the right decision. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that is Grim Forest. All right, and our surprise of this episode was a little card game called Guillotine. I found a couple copies at Goodwill, both unopened, so how could I pass that up? This one surprised us. I didn't expect much out of it, but this is based during the French Revolution, back when they liked to put nobles to death by chopping off their heads. Very macabre subject, very light card game. So throughout the game, you are basically pulling cards out of a center row and you're adding them to your hand. You're playing cards out of your hand to essentially take out the other cards. I mean, it's that light. You go through 3 days of, as I like how they put this in BGG, before harvesting heads. Very macabre subject.
Yeah.
But you go through 3 rounds of this, and then at the end of the game, the highest player wins. So very super light game. As I said, we were not expecting much out of it, but it's interesting. It's got some take that in it, but it's back and forth so much.
Yeah.
And it's not really... Nobody owns a specific type of card like they do in Family Business or
right.
something.
This is a lot like
family.
You get the Family Business vibe.
You get that vibe
because you're moving people around on the board, and they're in a line where they're going to be chopped.
But you're doing that just to get the higher scores where you need them, so you can get a hold of them versus somebody else.
Right? Yeah, because each card has a number on it, and that's the number you score. But some of them have special powers that can happen on it.
You can get a hold of. Yeah, it's an interesting little card game. We very much enjoyed this one. We've played it a few times now. All right, and our disappointment. Finally, our disappointment for this episode. This one surprised me in a disappointing way, I guess. This is Great Plains. Great Plains is a small 2-player game where it's all area control. You are putting out your little foxes on the board in order to control different parts of the landscape. we typically like the 2-player games. I very much like the small board games such as this. It was the area control part that got us, I think. Mm-hmm. There are different tokens that do different things. They allow you to jump over the mountains, or they allow you to jump over things, and it just did not hit with us.
No.
And it being the type of game it is, it really should have, but it just didn't. This one did end up leaving our collection altogether. I'm not even sure why we didn't put it in the other collection. We probably should have, but we ended up letting go of this one altogether, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, that is Great Plains. And the end of episode 31.
Yep. On to episode 32.
32. On episode 32, we did have one that we had to go backwards on. Not very far back because it was a G, and we're just now entering the H's at this point. So we were given a Kickstarter preview copy of a game called Gempire Zarman's Demands. And we did a review for him. We did a playthrough of it. So we added that into this particular episode because he let us keep the game. So into the H's. We played Hide, the Hidden Identity Dice Espionage game. We played Habitats, Hadrian's Wall, Hail Hydra, Hanabi Deluxe, Hands Down, Hangman. Yes, the Hangman we all played in school with pen and paper. There's actually a board game for it. We played Happy Days. Yes, that Happy Days. We played the Hardy Boys mystery game. And again, I'll say, yes, that Hardy Boys. Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets trivia game. Harry Potter Diagon Alley. Harry Potter Magi Creatures. Harry Potter Mystery at Hogwarts. Harry Potter Wizard Chess. It plays exactly like regular chess. Harry Potter The Sorcerer's Stone game. The Sorcerer's Stone trivia game. Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. And Harry Potter's Hogwarts House Cup Challenge. We played a lot of Harry Potter.
Yes.
Thank goodness I have a friend who is a very big, what do they call them, Potterheads? I don't know. She's a huge Harry Potter fan. I mean, like, she has listened to the books probably at least a dozen times each.
Potter fan sounds fine, but better than Harry heads.
I was thinking Potterheads, but whatever. Anyway, okay, so how we rank these out. Again, I would probably say about half of these ended up staying in our collection.
Really? I didn't think
of the game overall, of the whole thing. Probably about half. Okay, so the game that stayed. The one that we knew was staying from the first time we played it at Dice Tower West, and then we turned around and immediately bought it, was Habitats. This one is, you're building out a wildlife habitat for different animals, and each animal wants a specific type of terrain. Now, all of the terrain tiles with your animal tiles mixed in are all in a central area where you are driving your Jeep around to claim. You have a little Jeeple. Oh, gosh. Anyway, Jeeple. You have a little Jeep figure that you are driving around on the board, which is essentially just a series of tiles, and claiming various tiles of habitat/animals. You are then putting that into your own habitat. Now, each animal requires specific things to be touching it. So, and I'm totally pulling this off the top of my head, so don't quote me on these tiles, but say the bear needs to be next to forests and water and grasslands. It needs 2 forests and 1 water and 3 grasslands. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get that many pieces touching it specifically. So, but you can connect them via other ones. So if I have 3 grasslands lined up together, then that all counts if it's touching one side of my bear. Same as, but each of the different types of habitats have to be touching him, and then you can just kind of snake off the number that you need off of that. So there's no way to get all of your animals satisfied. You're not going to complete them all. Actually, that'd be a neat trick to try, but I've not yet been successful doing that. But it is a fun puzzle to try to satisfy as many of the animals as you can and solve them and satisfy them.
I was going to say solve them. What are you solving on them?
I don't know. Okay, so the game that left the collection, actually, it's a whole series. A good chunk of the Harry Potter series ended up leaving our collection. We ended up keeping, I think, Diagon Alley, Wizard's Chest. I think we kept Magi Creatures in Hogwarts Battle. But I know both of the Sorcerer's Stone games and the Chamber of Secrets trivia, and I think even Mystery at Hogwarts. I don't know. We let go of about half of them.
Yeah.
Just because, one, it was too much Harry Potter. Two, although nobody can, never mind, pretend I did not say that, because there are people who think you can never have too much Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm. There was one, it was just...
Okay.
I can't remember which one it was, though, but you had the little different rooms that you go into, but you can't start it till somebody caught up with you.
I want to say that was the Sorcerer's Stone game.
Possibly.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with these was, I think they got put out too many too fast, and by a game developer that really didn't care.
Yeah, they were cashing in on the name.
Exactly. So some of these were games very definitely geared toward very young children. They definitely were not, or family type games, but even then some of them were just not good. So we got rid of everything that was just simply not good. Now, we kept Wizard's Chest because it's chess with a Harry Potter theme, and it has all of the different pieces from the original movie?
Yes.
I want to say that chess game was in the original movie. So it had all of those different pieces on the board. Now, the board is nothing special, but I can replace a board. So we kept all of that. Magi Creatures is just a little card game. I'm pretty sure we kept that one. I don't remember. I've got my book right here. I can look it up. But anyway, and of course, Hogwarts Battle. That's one of the big ones. That's the one that, as a hobby gamer,
yes,
we all know.
Yeah, we had that and all the expansions.
Exactly. So that one did stay. But a good chunk of the rest left because they were either... I don't even want to say dated. Oh, they were. Like the trivia ones. Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. They were a little dated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I take that back. They're based on the book and the movie. You can't really get dated when you're based on a specific IP. However, some of the questions they ask, as I said, I mentioned my friend who has probably listened to the books a dozen times each. She didn't know the answers to some of these questions. How in the heck are the rest of us supposed to know the answers? So I just let it go. She was frustrated after playing these games. I certainly was not taking these to an event anywhere.
Mm-mm.
So we let those go. Anyway, I've drilled on enough about that. So the one that surprised us. And I mean, okay, so we've been asked to do a couple of reviews for various games. And usually, as very small in the industry, yes, we're content creators, but we don't have a huge following. We usually get the smaller passion type projects. And I'll be honest, not all of them are very good.
Mm-hmm.
Very few of them are very good.
We've had some really weird ones come through.
We've had some downright stinkers. But this one was not. But this was Gempire Zarman's Demands. This one really hit us. Now, it was a 3+ player, so we had to enlist the help of some other people to get this one played.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. We really enjoyed this one. So this one, this is essentially a city building game. You are building out various cards into your tableau, but the trick is that you can only build so many different types of cards. You can build it as wide as you want it, as long as you leave the same type of card connected. Mm-hmm. But once you've blocked off a specific type of card, you can't go back to that on that row. You can build a second floor and start that type over again, but you can't continue what you've blocked off. So there was some serious planning involved. I'm not going to go into it a lot, but...
Yeah, they can go and watch our reviews.
Go watch one of the reviews.
We did a game playthrough, too.
We did do a game playthrough. We did the review. I think I even did a breakdown on how to play.
Mm-hmm.
This was supposed to be going to Kickstarter sometime early this year, but I've not heard exactly when it's going to happen. So hopefully soon. I'm interested to get an actual copy, not just a prototype copy.
Yeah, because he had it on Kickstarter, pulled it down because he wanted to change up some of the artwork.
Yeah, he wanted to change the artwork. He wanted to add a solo mode, and there were a couple things he wanted to get done before he put it into final production. Mm-hmm. So he pulled it down till he could get those things accomplished. Yep. And unfortunately, we've just not heard what's happening with it in the last few months. So hopefully soon. Mm-hmm. All right, that was our surprise. And then our disappointment. I'm afraid I'm going right back to Harry Potter. I hope y'all don't mind me talking some more about that one. But this is Harry Potter Hogwarts House Cup Challenge. This one
looked like it was going to be kind of cool.
It did.
And it started off cool.
It did. It is a map of the Hogwarts castle and the grounds, essentially, of Hogwarts. And it's a huge board. I mean, it took up a good chunk of our table. It's a huge board. And throughout the game, you are moving around to the different areas to collect cards and do challenges. And at first, it started out pretty good. Mm-hmm. But by about halfway through the game, you couldn't lose a challenge. You just couldn't. You got too high in all of your stats. Mm-hmm. So it kind of turned into a dud about halfway through the game, I'm afraid.
Yeah, by that time it was just go over there. I know I'll be able to take them out, and then I'll get what I need, and then I'll go to the next one and get what I need. And
so it was good for one play. We have played it a couple times now, but it did get moved into the other collection. I held on to it only because of the theme and because the first play we had of it was enjoyable. But that's about as far as it goes. So it's a good one-time play if you're a Harry Potter fan. Mm-hmm. So therefore, it's the perfect place for it is the other collection. All right. That is it for the ins and outs.
So as we said, we went on vacation. We went to Shenandoah
Valley.
The Blue Ridge Mountains, I believe is where it was at.
Appalachia area, yes.
We went to a cabin called the Torty. Mm-hmm. This is actually owned by one Jeff Knapp from Tabletop Toolbox. He's a good friend of ours. We went out there to check it out and hung out there for 3 days.
Yes, we hung out at the cabin for 3 days, and then we moved down to just north of Richmond for another 3 days. Mm-hmm.
So we got down there on a Tuesday night, evening. And we actually got 2 games in before it was getting late.
All right, so we got in a game of Dinogenics with the Controlled Chaos expansion.
Yeah, we had not played with the Controlled Chaos expansion.
No.
And now I want
I bet you do.
The expansion.
It does add a wild resource, which is kind of a wild DNA resource, which is kind of nice if you're having trouble finding that one DNA card you need.
Yeah, and it gives you some more action spaces to go to do other things.
It does. And it also brings in the marine life, yes. The marine animals.
Yep. And there was one other thing over there that I don't remember what it was. I don't remember.
Now. But anyway, before we get too far into this, I will say we are not going to go into a ton of detail on each of these games,
no.
Especially if we've already talked about them on our own channel here.
Right.
Dinogenics we've definitely covered on one of our Playing Through Our Collection videos because we own that one. But if it's something new to us, we might go into a little more detail.
Yeah, and we talk about them a little bit more. We just did a video that's not out yet, but it's coming.
Yes, we do talk a little bit more about them on our vacation video. There is also a weekly ratchet that Jeff put out on Tabletop Toolbox that we go into each of them and kind of show the games off a little bit. So there's plenty of areas. If you've never heard of these games, by all means, look them up. We will, like I said, we'll talk about our experiences with each one as we go, though. All right, so the second game we played was Hissy Fit. Hissy Fit is just a little card game that I recently got on Kickstarter. Again, we've talked about this a little bit already, but you are essentially trying to get your cat into the carrier to go to the vet. And as I always say, if you've ever owned a cat, you know how difficult that can be. Mm-hmm. Cats have personalities.
Yep. Jeff had not played this yet?
He had not.
You had told him about it, and he had talked about it, but he had not got to play it yet.
And he ordered it before we were done playing.
He ordered it online before we got done. Yep.
It's just a little cooperative card game, and they are very big cat lovers, as are we. Mm-hmm. So he figured his wife and daughter would really enjoy this one, so I hope they do. All right, Wednesday morning, we got up and got in a play of Apiary. Mm-hmm. We've been trying to get this one played 3-player. We talked about this one extensively in a podcast a few episodes back, and we said we would come back after we got a multiplayer game in. So, again, consider this your check-in. So, it was very different I don't want to say very different. It was the same game at 3-player. Same number of the carved tiles out. Everything was pretty much the same. It's just there was more movement on the board. All of the tiles that went onto your faction board disappeared faster. So you couldn't bank on something being there because there were 2 people stealing them, not just one.
Yes.
So I thought it played just as well at 3. I would be curious to try it at 4, which it does play 4.
Yeah.
Does it play 4 or does it play 5? I think it only plays 4. So I still want to try it at 4, but let me just end with this. Greg slaughtered us again.
It plays 5, by the way.
It plays 5. Okay, I thought it did. I thought the flip side of the board was 4 to 5. Okay, so Greg came in with 141 to my 92 to Jeff's 89. I don't know what he's doing different than us, but I cannot seem to beat him. The closest I've come, I think, is a couple points.
I take the first part of the game and build an engine.
As do we all.
Not good enough, apparently.
Apparently not.
I make sure when I pull back, or what do they call it? Hibernate. That I'm getting extra stuff when I do that.
Well, yeah, so do I.
I had like 4 tiles that would do it when I pulled back and hibernate, which is all in one action.
My gave me stuff when I hibernated. So did Jeff's.
So did mine.
Oh, whatever. Anyway, someday I will beat him. I'm going to make you play your son. He'll beat you.
Whatever.
Anyway, Eminent Domain with the escalation expansion. Mm-hmm. Jeff bought this because we liked it, and I'm so glad that he ended up liking it because I was very worried with as much money as he spent on it. This is a game that is out of print. It is a TMG game, so therefore very difficult to find anymore. But Greg beat us on this one too. This is a space exploration card game. You are playing cards out to do various actions, including colonizing and warfare, and I can't even remember what it's called now, but you're looking for other planets. You are...
Explorer?
Is it Explorer? No, I thought it began with a C, but I could be wrong. Anyway, regardless.
That's colonize.
Well, no, colonize is to actually colonize a planet. I can't remember what the action to look for planets is. But anyway, again, we've talked about this one when we did the Ease. Great little card game. Super quick game. The whole game took less than an hour, I think, with all 3 of us playing. But again, Greg did come down and beat us. These scores were pretty close. 39, 35, 33.
It's all about the military.
Whatever. Then we got in a game of Oktoberfest. Now, this has sat on our shelf for a very long time now. Oktoberfest deals with supplying the beer tents at an Oktoberfest, as you would expect, with beer for the patrons. So basically the whole game. But in addition to that, there is a stock market type of atmosphere to it because as you are supplying the beer, depending on the value of the card you just laid down, because you can only go in ascending value, with 1 being the lowest, 7 being the highest, depending on the value of the card you played, you can pick up so many buy cards. Let me rephrase that. You can buy so many beer cards out of the stacks on the side of the board. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the game, you go through those stacks, and whoever has the most of one particular stack gets so many points. So it ends up being a set collecting, kind of
like
economic
you said, it kind of
game.
has it's an economic game
It
because
really
you can
is.
sell the kegs back too.
Yes, you can sell the kegs back if you discover, okay, there's no way I'm getting this one. I'm just going to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can sell them back and get money for them. It's an interesting game. Unfortunately, it was not one that none of us really took to it.
No.
So I did actually win this one. Yay, it's only one of 3 games I won the whole weekend.
We played like a round or two at Gen-Con in 2017, and I wanted to actually play a real game of it, a full game of it, and we found it really cheap at Gen-Con in the...
Maybe I should have let you play the whole game.
market.
Maybe we wouldn't have bought it and had it sitting on our shelf for the last 6 years.
Well, I would have rather have played the whole game instead of a game about quilt making.
Oh, whatever. He still won't let that go.
Nope.
Anyway, after that, we broke into a game of New Frontiers. This is a board game based on the card game of Race for the Galaxy. Same icons, only everything. Your planets are round discs that go in, that attach to your board or kind of slide into the facets of your board. Your technology tiles are little. I don't want to say triangular, they're almost like arrow type tiles.
Well, it looks like the
fit onto
symbol
your
that's
board.
actually on the card where it shows that it's a technology.
Everything is tile based rather than card based, so you don't have those multi-use cards. My favorite part of this game is the resources. Again, not cards. They're actually gorgeous plastic cubes and all different sizes and colors.
They look like space crates.
Yes, they do. They're gorgeous. So we did get that in. Jeff won that one again. And we finished out Wednesday with a game of Dinosaur Island. Jeff does not own this one, so we took it with us. It was the only one of the dinosaur series he had not played, so he was curious to check it out to see if it was worth picking up. He ultimately decided it was not. He does like Dinogenics better.
Yeah.
As do we all. But anyway, so we got in a game of Dinosaur Island. This one, once again, Greg won, but very narrow win on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a close one. But he still won. Again. So anyway, that wrapped up Dinosaur Island. It did wrap up Dinosaur Island. That wrapped up Wednesday. All right, so on Thursday, we got up and immediately got into a game of epics. At least that's how we decided it was pronounced.
Yes.
Originally, we thought epochs, and then
we even brought up the pronunciator.
We did. So this is a big civilization building game. You play in 3 epics, essentially. Card building, you've got resource tracks to go up. This is one that is on Kickstarter right now, in fact. Jeff was asked to do a preview of it for his channel and needed to get some extra plays in of it before he could do so. So we appeased him and helped him out with that. And I'm glad we did. It did not look like our kind of game. I was very concerned because all of the information we found about it mentioned battle, and I just don't do battle.
Yeah, it had area control. It had confrontation because you're battling to take the area controls.
To take the areas, yeah. We didn't end up having much trouble with it. Matter of fact, I don't think we ever did a battle between us because it just wasn't worth it.
Right. Well, we didn't think it was completely worth it.
Yeah.
And then Jeffrey read and talked to the designer, and we were kind of reading something wrong about it, and there was something. You weren't going to lose as many points as we thought initially, and that was the main reason I thought, because I was going to go ahead and do the warmongering, because you had to be a warmonger if you were going to attack anybody except for the barbarians. You could attack the barbarians.
Barbarians were fair game, but if you wanted to attack another player or a city,
you had to take the warmonger token,
which lost you points at the end of the round.
Right, but you were able to get things. Rewards for taking out, like if I attacked you, I would get certain things and get certain rewards, but then at the end of the round you would lose, what was that called?
You lost points.
Notoriety or something like that.
Right. You lost points based on which epoch we were in, which epic
So in the first round it wouldn't have been too bad.
No.
But we were still exploring the board because you uncover the board as you play, because that's one of your first actions on your turn is to uncover a thing. And once it's uncovered, then everything's uncovered and you can see the whole board.
It was interesting. I haven't decided if we're going to back it yet or not, but we're seriously thinking about it. So we'll see.
Now I kind of wish I'd done the whole warmonger thing, and we fleshed it completely out.
Fleshed it out, yeah. All right. After that, that was a long game. We played that one for several hours, but we really enjoyed it. All right. After that, we got in a game of Neom. This is one that we will be talking about very soon on the channel. Matter of fact, it's in one of the episodes I'm still editing.
And one of the reasons we were called a bad influence.
And one of the reasons we were called a bad influence, because before we were done playing, Jeff ordered the game because he thought his wife would enjoy it. And she did. So yay. All right. So Neom is a city building game. I'm seeing a definite theme here. Neom is a city building game that is based on tiles, much like Suburbia, where you are trying to connect stuff advantageously to get you points without... You have to connect by the roads. Every road has to lead back to the city center. But you don't want to put your power plant that is producing pollution next to your residential area because, the residents don't like that, and you lose points. So you're trying to build out your city in such a way that you can get points at the end of each round, so you can get money at the end of each round without losing points because you have unhappy residents.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting game. I very much enjoy this one.
Yeah, this one, like we always said, it's a lot like SimCity, the video game, which I know you have not played SimCity, the video game.
People keep telling me that, and I always forget that description because I have never played it.
Each round, there's going to be a disaster that's coming out.
Yes.
And there are ways to mitigate that because you could get, there's going to be a fire coming out. You could get a fire department. Yes. You could there's crime coming. You could get a police department. There was...
Floods. I think one was a flood.
Yeah,
and I don't think there was any way to avoid that one.
But you can also mitigate it because you're going to have a certain amount of tiles in front of you. You're going to pick one and pass it on. So, and then the last one that's not picked gets thrown away. So nobody could go around and not pick it unless they want to be mean, and they already say like it's the fire, and they already have the two fire departments.
Well, that's just it. It doesn't affect the person who plays it. It only affects everybody else.
Right.
So
that's why I said be mean and put it out and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so after we finished with that one, and Jeff had spent some more money, we played a game of London Cabbie.
This is another one I was worried that he would not like.
I was very worried he would think this was very corny because it was designed and it was released in 1971.
Yeah, this is in my top 10.
It is. And it is not in my top 10, but this one holds very fond childhood memories for me. London Cabbie is, again, 1971. It looks like it was produced in the 70s.
As Jeff said, every time you open it up,
smell
the 70s.
Yes. So you are playing London cab drivers, and you are tooling around London, picking up fares and dropping them off where they want to go. Everything is designated by a pull of cards. You have a number of cards out that show you where passengers are waiting to be picked up, and when you get there to pick them up, you pull up a destination card and that they tell you where they want to go. When you get them to where they want to go, there's a grid on the board that tells you how much money they pay you, and then you get to pull a tip card. And the tip will say anywhere from nothing, they stiff you, all the way up to, I think, 50 cents, maybe 25 cents. I don't remember how much.
25.
And mind you, the top fare was only $1.50.
I think so.
£1.50.
No, there is some in there that'll give you $2, but
yeah,
you
there are
gotta
some
go to
special
two
cards.
places.
Yeah, that give you $2, but you got to go 2 different places, and you can refuse those.
But this is definitely a pick up and deliver.
It is a pick up and deliver game,
100%.
Absolutely. We've kind of, and I think it's funny as he put it, that we blinged out our copy with cubes and stickers.
Yep.
Because if you've ever looked at a map of London, there are one-way streets going everywhere, and tried to read this map and find anything is difficult at best. So we've got I blinged it out with little cubes that show you where things need to be picked up or where your passengers want to go. I've got little meeples that are in there that shows where the passengers are being picked up, and then cubes show where you're taking them, just so we can easily spot stuff on the board.
Yeah, because you start off with one cab, so it's pretty easy to figure out what you got. But when you get 2 cabs out there, now you got to remember who's in what cab and where are they going.
So the reason this one kind of stuck, and Jeff ended up having a good time, it's not something he's going to run out and buy.
He says if he finds it in a
Goodwill or half price books, he'd get it. Yeah, but we laughed so hard at this one. So in this game, one of the things you do at the start of every round is you change out the traffic jams, and there's these little triangular pieces that sit over areas that are blocked by traffic jams, and you and I both got caught in the middle of them. We were in the intersection. The traffic jam cone is literally put on top of us. We couldn't move that round.
Yeah.
Jeff never got caught in one. I think he was causing them.
Yes.
Every single time, the entire last half of the game, every traffic jam came up in the intersection he just went through. So we were laughing pretty hard at this one. We had a good time with it. All right. And then we wrapped up the night with a game called Eve Conquests. This is based on an online multiplayer universe game, community universe. I don't know exactly what to call it. I've never participated in one. This held special memories for Jeff because he played in this for several years before he met his wife and had his daughter. So it brought back a lot of memories for him. I actually won that one. This is my second win of the weekend.
Yeah, which was amazing that you was able to catch on to the game.
That I was able to catch on to the game? It wasn't that hard.
Well, anybody to catch on the game at first. I mean, because it looked really weird.
It was, the whole planet, or the whole board is a series of planets. And the board actually reminded me a lot of the Star Wars Pandemic. With all the different shoots off into the different planets. Just triple the amount of planets.
And then it played with poker chips as your ships and everything that you're building, your armies. And as Jeff said, he thinks this was came up before the whole chip theory thing.
Chip theory stuff, yeah, I think so too. But anyway, interesting game. As he put it, he'll hold on to it for the nostalgia of it, but it will probably never come off his shelf again. All right, so Friday morning, we got up, we packed out of the cabin, and we drove down to Ashland, Virginia, just north of Richmond, where Jeff resides. We met his wife, we met his daughter, had a great weekend. If you guys are listening, thank you so much for hosting. We did truly have a wonderful trip. But first game we got in, we had a friend of mine that I went to high school with who lives about 45 minutes from there come over, and we ended up playing a game of Firefly the Game. Now, this is another one Jeff asked us to bring because he was curious about it. He's never seen the series. We love the series and the movie. We talked him into at least trying it, so he and his wife are trying it. So we taught them Firefly the Game. Jeff won again.
But apparently we missed some
missed some key rules.
It's been a while since we played it.
Yes. And I don't think any of them were key rules. They were just minor stuff. But nonetheless, they would have changed out how the game was played a little bit. But regardless, I need to go back and reread the rule book before we play it again. So we did teach them that. After that, he taught us Let's Go to Japan. This is one I was very curious about. I was a travel agent for a very long time prior to my current job, prior to 9/11. So this one really struck home with me because my entire job, I specialized in foreign locations, and my job was setting up the flights, setting up the car rentals and train stations or train tickets and tickets to different locations and things like that, setting up your itineraries. So this one struck home for me, and this one Jeff and I tied on. We actually tied, but I really enjoyed this one.
Oh, I know. You look like you were enjoying yourself.
I did. I had a good time with this one. So this one is all about creating your trip to Japan. And I guess this one was actually, from what I understand, and I have not read this, Jeff was telling us this, the gentleman who created this was planning a trip to Japan prior to 9/11, and because of, or not 9/11, I'm
COVID.
sorry, but prior to COVID. And because of COVID, the trip had to be postponed. So instead, he turned that trip and all of his plans into this game. So, very neat game. So you are literally planning out your trip, and every time you switch cities, you have to have a train ticket to get from one city to the other.
Yeah, because you can go from Tokyo to
Kyoto.
Yeah,
and then back again as many times as you want, but you want to try to reduce that number so you're not traveling constantly. Meanwhile, you're gathering icons in order to score points on each specific day. Each day wants you to do something. It wants specific icons that you can score off of. So, very interesting game if you've ever wanted to check that out. I highly recommend that one.
Yep.
After that, Jeff disappeared to go spend time with his lovely wife and his daughter, and Lisa stuck around, my friend from high school. We got in a game of Planet Unknown. Greg won again.
You see a theme here?
Yeah. I told you I only won 3 games. We've covered them all already. So, after that, we got in a game of Cascadia. Now, Lisa had never played either one of these. Jeff had them both, so we played them. And once again, this was probably the closest scoring game we had the entire week. Greg won with 79 because of a tiebreaker. He and Lisa both scored 79. I scored 78. Cone. You won by, one stinking pine cone token. Yeah, but it was fun. And it was nice to hang out with Lisa for a few extra hours. It was very late when she left, but that's okay. We had a good time. All right, Saturday morning, we got up and we dug into our first play of Star Trek Ascendancy. This is as big a game as I ever thought it would be.
All about going out and building, building your own world. I mean,
you're building out the space lanes while you explore
while you're exploring planets. New islands. They look like islands. They're little bitty discs on the middle of the board.
Yeah.
But you're finding new planets to habitat to take over, so you can start getting your resources there and end up being able to do stuff and build off of them.
Yeah.
And you're also building your armies. And I did like the fact that they had the little certain what were those called?
The fleets?
The fleets, yes. Yeah. You had fleet 1, fleet 2, fleet 3, and a card tells you what each fleet did, and then you could build ships and then put them on your fleet card, and then you put the fleet out. So
the fleet token out, yeah.
This fleet has this many ships in it, but you knew what it was, and you didn't have to keep moving around the board.
Right. Yeah, it made it nice because you could have all of them in just one piece.
Yeah, but this one...
each fleet specialized in something.
Yeah, this one was another area control with combat. But we never truly... Well, you and Jeff got into a small skirmish. Jeff came in
and tried to attack one of my bases with his fleet and failed miserably, yes. Yeah. I had one lone starship out there that held him off.
Yep.
Because of some of my technologies I'd built. I played the Federation. He was playing the Andorians, and you were playing the Romulans.
Yeah. And the rounds are... You deal out cards until somebody makes first contact. Once you make first contact, you're supposed to bid on the round cards.
Right.
Then,
but a variation to make it faster was just continue to hand them out randomly.
Yeah, but you had to spend your resources on the bid. So you're going to be constantly going back in there. And we decided just to keep handing the cards.
None of us wanted to do more bidding.
Yeah. And it came down, and you're looking to try and get 5 ascendancy. Yeah. And it came down to a card pull at the very last of the game because...
we both had enough to get that 5th ascendancy. Yep. We literally just needed to start the round.
Yep. And I got the high card to go first.
You did. You beat me. You pulled a 5, I pulled a 6.
So the end of the game was kind of like, yeah. But the everything leading up to that point was a lot of fun. Trying to... get out there and build your space lanes. We were trying not to get in each other's way.
Eventually we had to because we ran out of table space.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was building up my armies and then realized, oh, look, I have an area where I'm going to get 4 or 5 culture and 5 culture get you an ascendancy every round.
Yeah, I know.
So I was like, oh, yeah, we're going. But I kept building my army, so I was ready to attack. As you've seen, because you brought one of your ships in towards mine, and I had those 3 ships, those 3 troops.
Yeah, and my ship turned around and left. It connected.
They were sitting there like going,
gone.
Come on in.
Yeah, I know.
We're ready for you.
We have the Borg expansion for this one, and that does make it a cooperative game. So we're going to try to pull that out soon.
Well, it makes it a cooperative to a point. You're both, everybody's trying to take out the Borg, but you can still
fight each
other.
Yeah. So it makes it semi-cooperative, but you can focus we'll see how it goes. We have some friends who really like the cooperative game, so we're going to see if they want to check it out with us. I think they're bigger Star Wars fans than Star Trek, so I don't know. We'll have to ask.
Okay, next.
All right, after that, we got in, after that big, heavy game.
Oh, no, it was this game.
We got in a little game called Flick of Faith. This is a little flicking game where you've got various size discs that you are flicking across a neoprene mat, trying to take control of islands. And not even really take control of islands initially. You're trying to land on the islands.
Yeah.
There's one hole on the island that if you make it inside that hole or that circle, then you get to put one of your fortresses on the island. And that's
fortress
permanent,
or temple or whatever
temple,
it is.
Whatever it is. Yeah, I guess it would be a temple because they're gods. But that gives you one permanent placement there. Unless somebody knocks you into the sea like I did to Jeff, because God, that was so funny. Anyway, so you're flicking these little discs trying to get majority on the 4 different islands because you score points based on how many islands you have majority on. And then every god had their own special ability. So you could try to get points that way too.
Yep. And then every round there was 2 laws that would come out, and you voted thumbs up or thumbs down depending on which one you wanted.
Yes. So it was a fun game. I've actually looked this up on Amazon and I can get it for like $25. I'm really tempted. I've not gone out and bought it yet.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I did enjoy it. We laughed pretty good at that one. All right. And then finally that evening, right after dinner, Jeff had another friend of his, one of his buddies, come over. And Daniel joined us for a game of hegemony. Now, hegemony is not one we've ever talked about. I had heard of it, but I knew nothing about it prior to sitting down to watch the rules breakdown. Jeff ended up pulling out a video for this one for the rules breakdown because it was just that intense.
Yeah, because each faction, I guess, if
has
you want to call it,
has a
part
different
of the
set of
government
rules.
or however of life
had
its own set of rules.
So by the time we were probably a third of the way through this, Daniel looked at the rest of us and said, "Man, this is life. This is life, the game." Very, very interesting. So you have 4 different groups, I guess. I don't want to say factions because they're really not
factions because
you have the state, the government. You have the capitalists, basically corporate America. You have your middle class and you have your working class. Now, I was playing the working class. Greg was playing the capitalists. And Jeff, the state, Daniel, the middle class. So Daniel and I were kind of on the same page. We wanted jobs for our people. We wanted good pay for our people. But yet at the same time, he was actually having to provide the jobs too. So he was providing more white collar jobs versus blue collar jobs, whereas all of my blue collar workers, I was trying to get into various locations as well. It was just really interesting. Trying to get laws passed that would help one person but not the other, and trying to talk people into, hey guys, we need jobs out here or my people are going on strike. It was fun.
Yep. Because you were constantly going at me. It's like, I need jobs. I got people to put out. It's like going, I need money so I can put out the job so I can afford to pay you. So I can't pay you that much because then I won't make money to be able to pay you. He knocked down minimum
wage and then tanked all the wages. Whatever. I still came in second on this one.
Yeah, I came in last.
Barely.
I came in last by
second.
A long shot.
You did. Well, no, not by a long shot. You were 9 points behind me. Wasn't that bad. Very interesting game. Very intense. This was a 4-hour game. We played this until 2 a.m.
It was still a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was the video we watched. The guy was fantastic, but it still took an hour and a half. It was an hour and a half rules to each video.
Yeah. I don't think it's one we need in our collection because it probably would not come off the shelf.
It would not.
Because of it being a long game. I mean, we still have Twilight Imperium. I've played it once in the last 6 years that I've had it.
Yeah. So it's something that I'm sure Jeff will hold on to it. He absolutely adores this game. So we will have another chance to play it, I'm sure. So, but that is Hegemony. And finally, Sunday, day before we head home, we got in a play of Nothing Personal. Now, we own it. So does Jeff. We need to get it played for the ends. So Jeff accommodated us. He humored us in this case. I think humor is the right word.
Yes.
He humored us.
Yeah, he didn't really want to play it.
He did not. This was actually, it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. I was expecting a knockdown, drag out. Knockdown, drag out, brawl, something. I think that's the way it's worded. Anyway, I was expecting it to be much worse than it was. So this game was designed by Tom Vassell of Dice Tower fame. It is an area control, but the areas you're trying to control are actually a gangster hierarchy. Starting from the capo at the top of the tree all the way down to, I don't even remember what the positions, the positions were at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, and then throughout the game, it plays in 5 rounds, and each round you're either putting out influence, and then you're doing actions, you're getting points based on, or not even points, you're getting money based on who you influence, well, points too, for that matter, who you have the most influence on. Then you can go through and do the special actions that those gangsters give you or that their position gives you. And these actions could be anywhere from place out a free influence, draw extra cards, put a hit on somebody, all sorts of different things. You could bribe, or not even bribe, blackmail. You could blackmail other positions so that if I put out an influence with a blackmail card, now all of this is by card play. You can't just arbitrarily put out influence anywhere. You have to have the cards that allow you to do this.
Yes.
Same with the blackmail. But if I put out blackmail, like I did a couple of times,
yes, you did,
onto somebody else, I could tell him whether or not he could do that action.
Mm-hmm.
Or better yet, you could do the action, but not against me. You got to do it against somebody else.
Right.
So I thought it was pretty interesting. I thought the mechanics were very interesting. I think with the right group of people, it holds up. I think it's actually a good game.
Yeah, as Jeff said too, I think it needs more than just 3 players. 4 players would be better because when if somebody's blackmailing somebody, okay, well.
And I think this is a 5-player game.
Yes.
I think this is a 5-player game, and we're going to potentially do this at the retreat, or not the retreat. I'm sorry, at the 24.
Yeah, it's a 3 to 5.
It's going to take the right group of people, though.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to see who wants to join in on this one and who could take it with the spirit intended.
Yeah. So watch the 24-hour and see how that one plays up.
Yeah. All right. So after that, we had a short time until dinner, but we wanted to try something lighter. So Jeff taught us how to play First Rat. This is something I've always been curious about. The premise of the game is that the rats have decided that the moon is made out of cheese, and they are doing everything in their power to launch a rocket to get to the moon to get the cheese. It was actually a really cute game. I really enjoyed this one.
It was that time in the day, and I got comfortable in my chair and fell asleep about halfway through the rule teach. Woke up at the very end of the rules teach, realizing, crap, I probably just missed a bunch of stuff. So the first couple of rounds, I'm not going.
And of course, you went first.
Yeah, so I'm not going. I don't know what I'm doing. I'll go here. I get cheese. So yeah, so it took me a couple rounds to realize, like, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. Okay, so by that time I was so far behind.
Not that bad. Jeff won with 91. I had 79. You had 75. So you were right behind me.
Okay.
So, all right, and we ended the night out with another game of Firefly. Jeff wanted to teach Ashley, his wife, how to play this because he really wanted it, but he couldn't justify it.
Right.
So we offered to play it again and to teach her how to play so that if she liked it, then he could justify purchasing it. Well, spoilers, he now has it.
Yes.
So she really enjoyed it. And I kind of get what she said. She enjoys open world games, but she liked this one specifically because it gave you goals. It gave you a direction. And that's what this does. It doesn't tell you have to go here, but it gives you those options. So once you've picked up a job, you know where what you need to do. You know where you need to go to get the job. You know where you need to go to complete the job.
Yes.
So, and she liked that. So I'm happy that they did enjoy it. And this would be the last game as to why we were called a bad influence, because he turned around and bought this, I think, 2 days after we left.
Yeah, he sent us a message. He goes, there may or may not be a large white box sitting on my porch right now.
Yes. So I hope they enjoy it.
As what we have, he went and bought the 10th anniversary.
All in
pledge there.
You got to. So that is it for all the games we played. After that, we headed home the following morning, and we've been enjoying the last few days of vacation since.
Yep.
Tomorrow, we're back to the grind, whether we want to be or not. Well, as of listening to this, I guess it's today we're back to the grind.
Yep.
So anyhow, that is pretty much it. If you want more information on any one of the games, by all means, let us know, and we will do a further breakdown of that particular game. I know we went through those fairly quickly.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to do it for episode 64. What's coming to the YouTube channel? Episode 52 and 52, playing through our collection, has been recorded. It's still in editing though, so look out for those two coming up. Also, we have a top 10 coming out for 2-player only games. That's also getting ready to be edited, so that'll be coming out. Yep. So, what else is coming to the channel? Well, keep an eye out for the Extra Life 24-hour gaming marathon live stream to be up June 7th through the 8th from 8 p.m. on the 7th to 8 p.m. on the 8th. So make sure you mark your calendars, come out, watch us play games, help us raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. But in the meantime, if you want to follow us on social media just to keep up with us, see what we're doing, just follow the link in the show notes. Here you'll find links to Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, and our merch shop. Or you can email us at meeplesociety@mail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at the next one.